Did you know that every week you're ingesting about a credit card's worth of plastic? Yes, you heard that right. It's a hard pill to swallow, but the harsh reality is that plastic has become an unwelcome part of our diet. This ubiquitous material, once hailed as a wonder of modern science, has now infiltrated our food chain in the form of microplastics. These tiny particles, less than 5 millimeters in length, have become a pervasive presence in our environment. They originate from a variety of sources, including larger plastic debris that degrades into smaller and smaller pieces. Imagine this: every time you sprinkle sea salt onto your eggs in the morning, you could be seasoning your meal with a dash of microplastics. That's because studies have found these minuscule particles in sea salt from all over the world. The ocean, a vast soup of plastic debris, is the ultimate source of this contamination, and the infiltration doesn't stop there. It extends to our seafood too: fish, shellfish, you name it. The sea creatures that we consume are ingesting plastic particles from the water they swim in and the food they eat. Consequently, those particles make their way onto our plates and into our bodies. Even the seemingly pure water you drink is not immune to this invasion. Microplastics have been detected in both bottled and tap water globally, so every time you quench your thirst, you could be sipping on these invisible invaders. This might sound like a dystopian science fiction plot, but it's our current reality. The plastic we've produced and discarded carelessly has come back to haunt us in a way we could never have anticipated. It's a chilling reminder of the interconnectedness of our actions and their consequences. So let's let that sink in for a moment. The food you eat, the water you drink, they could all be laced with tiny particles of plastic. That's right, you're essentially dining on plastic every single day. It's an unsettling truth, but one we must face if we're to change our relationship with this pervasive material. Plastic production has surged to 380 million tons in 2015, from a mere 2 million tons in 1950. It's a staggering truth that underlines the scale of our reliance on this material. The convenience and versatility of plastic have led us to a point where it's virtually impossible to imagine a world without it. But let's take a moment to consider the cost of this convenience. The production of plastic has not only grown exponentially, but has also left a devastating mark on our environment. This scene will shed light on the repercussions of this plastic invasion. The reality is, only a small fraction of the plastic we produce is recycled. To be precise, a mere 9%. Yes, out of all the plastic waste ever produced, only 9% has found its way back into the recycling system. But where does the rest go? Well, it ends up in places we'd rather not think about. It infiltrates our oceans, turning them into vast, floating garbage dumps. It piles up in our landfills, leaching harmful chemicals into the soil. And when incinerated, it releases toxic fumes into the air we breathe. And the plastic that doesn't end up in these places, it's in our homes, our workplaces, and tragically even in our bodies. It's a sobering thought to realize that plastic is not just surrounding us, it's infiltrating us. The scale of plastic pollution is so vast that it's hard to fully comprehend. It's as if our planet is under siege from an invader that's not only relentless but also virtually indestructible. The sad truth is, plastic isn't just a part of our lives, it's become a part of our world, and it's a part we can't easily get rid of. The reality is, our planet is virtually drowning in plastic. It's a crisis of our own making, and it's one that we need to address before it's too late. Because the truth is, we can't afford to ignore the plastic invasion any longer. But it's not just our planet that's being invaded by plastic. Our bodies are too. Microscopic invaders have breached our defenses, and they're not from outer space. They're from the plastic we use every day. These invaders are called microplastics, tiny particles smaller than a grain of rice. They've been found everywhere, in our oceans, the air we breathe, and even the food we eat. Recent studies have made a shocking discovery. Microplastics are not just in our surroundings, they're inside us too. These particles have been found in human organs and tissues. It's as if we've become walking, talking repositories of plastic waste. But how does this happen? When we eat food that's been packaged in plastic or drink water from a plastic bottle, we're not just consuming nutrients. We're also taking in minuscule particles of plastic that have leached into our food and water. It's a silent invasion happening right under our noses. The health implications of this are still not entirely understood. However, the early signs are alarming. Certain chemicals found in plastic, like bisphenol A or BPA, have been linked to an array of health issues. These include hormonal imbalances, behavioral problems, obesity, and even cancer. Yes, you heard it right. Our daily use of plastic could be contributing to one of the most dreaded diseases of our time, cancer. Studies have suggested a potential link between long-term exposure to harmful chemicals in plastic and an increased risk of developing cancer. It's a terrifying thought that our dependence on plastic could be silently chipping away at our health. We need to understand that plastic is not just littering our streets and choking our oceans, it's infiltrating our bodies, disrupting our health, and possibly even shortening our lives. We've allowed plastic to invade every aspect of our lives. Now it's invading us. It's high time we took this threat seriously. Plastic is not just an environmental crisis, it's a public health crisis too. Ever wondered how plastic is made? Brace yourself, it's not a pretty process. Let's start at the beginning. Plastic is derived from crude oil. Yes, the same black sticky stuff that fuels our cars and heats our homes. To extract this oil, we drill into the earth, often with devastating consequences for wildlife and ecosystems. Once the oil is extracted, it's transported to a refinery. Here it undergoes a process called cracking, where it's heated until it breaks down into smaller molecules. These molecules are then combined to form polymers, the building blocks of plastic. But this process is energy intensive and generates a lot of heat, contributing to global warming. And we're not done yet. These polymers then undergo a process called polymerization, where they're combined with toxic chemicals to create different types of plastic. These chemicals, like bisphenol A or BPA, can leach into our food and water, potentially causing health problems like cancer and hormonal imbalances. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what about recycling? Unfortunately, most plastic isn't recycled. In fact, only about 9% of all plastic waste ever produced has been recycled. The rest ends up in landfills, or worse, in our oceans, where it breaks down into microplastics that marine life mistake for food. So,